well. However, my next guest, former State Department official Christian Whiton, is saying those reports are too optimistic. Christian, I want to start with there. Why do you say that?
Well, Arthur, the rebels clearly have had a couple of good days. They had a targeted suicide bombing that didn't have any collateral damage, just killed top officials who support Assad in Damascus. They mounted military operations in the capital, and now those have moved to the economic capital of Aleppo. But, you know, it's important to note that Assad's forces have basically suppressed the attacks in Damascus and certainly are going to be pushing back in Aleppo. Assad, you know, probably will go at some point, but there's nothing to indicate that that is imminent. Instead, a lot of the talking points coming out of the administration this week and other officials around the world saying Assad was set to go look more like wishful thinking or even propaganda rather than the likelihood. And there are distinct differences between this and Libya. There was an entire rebel army outside of Tripoli that had worked its way across the country. You don't have that in Syria, partly because we really haven't given a lot of support to the Syrian rebels.
Okay, hang on for a second here, Christian, because you're saying that we're talking about that suicide bombing attack that happened this week, killing 3 of the top leaders there in Assad's regime, and you're sort of blowing it off. But here are the people there. You have his defense minister, his deputy defense minister who's married to his sister, and he's known as one of the most feared figures in his regime, as well as a former defense minister. Those are key people there. And now, as Di Natale just reported, it appears that Assad's wife and his 3 young children are now in Russia, and there's, according to reports, that the likelihood of Assad himself still being there in Damascus, that the reports are slim. That likelihood is slim. So I'm a little bit surprised that you're saying that you don't think that his ouster, if you will, or his departure, where he may defect or find exile in Russia, we don't know that yet. But I'm surprised to hear you say that you don't feel that his days are truly numbered.
All right. Well, I hope they are. I hope his departure is imminent. But if you look, and you know, I don't want to diminish, this was a very brilliant act of soldiering and intelligence that was required to get a bomb past all of the defenses right into a very important meeting of his top lieutenants. But, you know, things have stabilized a bit since Wednesday when this happened. If he were going to go, he probably would have gone then. But since then, he's pushed back. They've mounted all of these counterattacks. Large parts of Damascus are stable. So it seems like we've passed the point where there's imminent panic. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he leaves. But this is a man who has killed 17,000 of his own people in order to retain power. He's clearly, you know, past the Rubicon of being willing to do just about anything to stay in power. So I don't think he's sort of, imminently set to depart. I certainly wouldn't base policy on that, which is what, you know, we seem to be doing.
I'm running tight on time. I'm going to ask you, it's a little bit of a complicated question, but I'd like you to be concise if you can. You've got Russia and China for the 3rd time vetoing UN resolution to pressure Assad. What is it that China and Russia are hoping to gain here? We're talking about possible political and strategic or geographic strategy. What is it?
Yeah, Russia just counts Assad as an ally. It has a submarine base, one of its few warm water access points in Syria, and ultimately the Chinese government and Putin just don't care about killing civilians. If you need, you know, just ask the Chechens about Putin and what he thinks about killing civilians.
Well, Christian, thank you. I know it was a complex answer there. It's not a real simple situation there concerning Russia and China's involvement and their motives behind this, but I appreciate the short answer nonetheless. Christian Whiton, thank you very much. Of course, we are going to be staying on top of this story, and tomorrow I want to let you know